Do you like to binge watch TV? Did you know you could binge listen to podcasts? Head over to electronicmediacollective.com, where they have podcasts for days. You like podcasts about wrestling? They have that. Do you like podcasts about TV and film? They have that. Do you like podcasts about horror? EMC has that too. Do you like comedy? Do you like books? Guess what? They've got you covered. Head over to electronicmediacollective.com. Pick your favorite podcast today.
Hey everybody, this is Bob Elmore. I was Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Part 2, and you're listening to Moose's Monster Mash.
You're listening to Moose's Monster Mash. Welcome, Horror Hounds, to another all-new episode of Moose's Monster Mash. I'm your host, Moose. Joining me this month is a true Renaissance man who keeps finding ways to reinvent himself. Whether it's heartthrob, killer, creator, he gets lost, he gets found. Let's not waste any more time. Let's bring him out. Your friend and mine, Mr. Wesley Eure.
Hey there, how are you?
Good.
I like that he gets lost, he gets found. I can't say it. Land of the Lost and Finders Keepers on Nickelodeon. Yeah, so I'm liking that. You know, it's gonna be my tagline from now on, Moose. It's gonna be.
I get lost, I get found. I'm around. It's okay.
Also, as I've gotten older, it's kind of become real. Hello. Where
am
am
I
I?
at? Excuse me.
Is it Thursday? Is it pudding day?
Yes, folks, it is that kind of interview.
Yeah.
So how's life?
Well, listen. I mean, you and I have become friends.
Yes.
I did the show in Nebraska, and I'm telling you, and I say this sincerely, I'm not blowing smoke. Well, a little smoke, but what's that much for it? But the show in Nebraska was truly one of the most fun experiences. Kathy played my sister on Land of the Lost, Holly, and I came, and we have made lifelong friends, not only with the staff, but with the other guests that were on, Guy and Michael and all these wonderful people, and they're becoming friends. So thank you so much for that experience, because it's rare. It's rare that we have such a great time.
Oh, and definitely. You know? And, you know, listeners, if you tuned in last month, which I hope you did, you know, he's talking about Grand Comic Fest. And, you know, the last few years I've kind of helped put this show together. And one of our main goals is we're not a machine convention. We're still at its core a very community-ran convention. And so to hear, you know, Wesley talk about how everyone, you know, left as friends, and, you know, as Wesley, you and I see, new connections were made with like Guy Gilchrist and Greg Berg, making that Muppet Babies connection after all these years. That end of the day, that's what it is to me, is seeing those spots. It's not a business. It is very much a feeling.
It's a passion, and you can have passion for this. You know, anybody that puts on a show, the work that it takes is extraordinary. And I think, you know, we walk into conventions, all set up, all the vendors are set up, and we walk in and we have a great time, and we leave, and we forget what it takes to get to that point, to walk through that door. You know, and I know Paul, your cohort in Nebraska was saying he's panicked until the doors open, and the moment they walk in, he goes, take a breath. So,
as I say, up until doors open, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. You know it. You and Kathy got stuck in Dallas.
I know. What was there? Almost like 40 hours or something, sleeping on the chairs. Well, and the arms, you know, the chairs in Dallas, they don't go up. So I was stupid, but I'm in my shorts because I'm in Palm Springs, and I'm like kind of like this. And Kathy, who's like my sister, she watches me all night. She texts me, It's not often that a cast becomes friends for life. We know a lot of TV casts that have that sometimes won't even do a show together, won't sit next to each other. But Kathy and I have become like real brothers and sisters. And Phil Paley, who played Chaka, the monkey boy, and the guy who played my dad, Spencer Milligan, we are all truly family. I've always said that Sid and Marty didn't just cast my TV family, but they gave me a real life family. And it's true, we are all really, really close. So, in fact, some shows, Kathy and I are doing the Star Trek convention coming up because Land of the Lost was actually written by the Star Trek writers. David Gerrold. And cast, yes. But David Gerrold was our head writer. He wrote Trouble with Tribbles. Walter Koenig, so if you're a Star Trek person, you know Walter Koenig is Chekhov, the original Chekhov. He created Enoch, the talking sleestack, which is the orange one of these guys. D.C. Fontana, Larry Niven, Spinrad. And so it is truly amazing how happy we are all to get together. In fact, I live in Palm Springs, and Kathy just moved to Palm Springs, so we're actually, now we get to travel together, and we're close by. But the Star Trek convention, Kathy and I actually share a room for the 6 days of the convention in Vegas. And we're the only show that they allow in other than Star Trek, and that's because of our connection to Star Trek.
Wait, that was an option?
What?
Sharing a room? Hey.
This one they make us pay for our room.
Oh, okay.
So instead of having 2 rooms, we just get 2 big queen beds. We've done it for the last 8 years, and it's the only show where we do that. But it's so worth going because we love the Star Trek convention. We like all the people, and we love Star Trek. So.
Well, and listeners, if you have the chance, you really do. If you see Wesley or Kathy Coleman pop up on a convention near you, take a day. Go spend half an hour and go hang out with these guys. It is, if you are having a shit day, it will turn around like that. You cannot walk away from their table, man. It is impossible. There's just so much life and energy emanating from this table that it really is. You guys really bring the party. And, to your point of, there's a lot of cast members, a lot of child casts that don't do that. It is very refreshing to see the camaraderie and closeness between you and Kathy after all these years. You guys are very in sync.
She came over yesterday and made me lunch here at Palm Springs. She says, "I'm coming over, I'm bringing you lunch." I go, "Okay." So about 10 years ago, Kathy's been doing the conventions a long time. And I didn't do them a lot because I was working a lot. I had Dragon Tales on PBS, which I co-created. There were 3 creators. And she said, "You know what would be fun? Is what if we had a big yellow raft and everybody got in the yellow raft and we did photos?" Because in the opening sequence, I sing the theme song from Land of the Lost, which is Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition, met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft. Plunged him down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost, to the land of the lost. And then Grumpy the dinosaur goes, "Roar." And so she said, "Why don't we bring a yellow raft?" And you know what? We got a yellow raft, got yellow life jackets, yellow oars, and we put everybody, when you come in, if you buy an autograph from us, we put you in the yellow raft. We put a life jacket on you. We get in the raft with you. We bring sleeve stack heads. And I go on the count of 3, I pose everybody, make sure the hands don't hide anybody's face, something like that. I mean, this is a production number. This isn't just get in the raft, let's take a picture. No. Your oars have to be a certain way on each side. They have to be turned a certain way, hands, all this stuff. And then on the count of 3, you scream. 1, 2, 3. Ah! So the photo is fabulous. And if you go on like my Facebook or just Google it, you'll see some of the most amazing photographs.
Oh, there's
And the
going
last
to be
couple
a picture added to the episode description because I have the one with,
oh, good.
you know, us and Billy, which happens to have me in my bear suit. So
One of the best photos that we took at the convention in Nebraska, and it's absolutely one of my favorite now. It is Batman and Darth Vader in the raft with us. It is one of the best photos. But I posted recently and every celebrity, when they come to these shows, they think we're nuts, first of all. And they hear us screaming and singing the theme song. And the first day they were annoyed. The second day, they're going, can we get a picture in a raft with you guys? Yeah. So I just posted like Lonnie Anderson. I had Dawn Wells, obviously, before she passed. And gosh, who else? We had Melissa Gilbert, Mindy Cohen. We had the Brady Bunch. We had, oh my God, it's crazy. Sam Jones, Flash Gordon, John Schneider, Dukes of Hazzard. You know, I mean, it's so much fun, the photos with the celebrities. And Patrick Wayne, John Wayne's son, he was at a convention. He wanted nothing to do with his first day. The second day, he got in the raft and took a photo. He wanted one. The third day, he came to our camp. Hey, I need more photos. I posted them online. Everybody likes these photos. Can I have more photos? And I get the raft. But it's so. We decided a long time ago is that if we're all going to be there together, let's create an experience rather than just a photo. Because you know what? There's enough of these photos. Hey, you know, who cares? So we said, we're all there. And believe me, it's a lot of work to haul that raft, the oars, the life jackets, and all the props that we bring. And, but it creates a moment where we get to share. Because you know, if you told me that we were going to put a yellow raft on the floor and people were going to get in on the floor with us, and these photos would be amazing, I would say you're crazy. But Kathy was right. And it creates so much joy. And, you know, in fact, Christopher Knight, we did a thing called a Krofft Con for Sid Marty Krofft last year at the Orinda Historic Theater outside of Oakland, California. And Chris Knight was there because the Krofft produced the Brady Bunch Hour. Chris gets in with Kathy and I and his wife, and we're going over the waterfall, screaming. And his wife comes up to me and goes, listen, look at this photo. This is going to be our Christmas card this year. It's a great Christmas card.
Oh, man. It's probably going to be Doug's Christmas card as well. And listeners, that's our show director for Grand Comic Fest is Doug Holmes. He's another one of those where he's like...
Yeah, his dad, how old is his dad?
His parents are in their 90s.
They got in the raft for the photo. It's crazy.
You meet them, you would not think that they're in their 90s.
No, they're driving everybody around. They're picking up people at the airport and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, they were such. I got to tell you, I mean, I know I've said it, but it's truly one of the kindest group of people putting the show on, and the people that they put together as performers and artists and vendors. It was like a huge family. I mean. I think the one night, Kathy and a whole bunch of people, I stayed up till 10 because I'm old, but I think everybody stayed until 2 in the morning, and nobody wanted to go to bed. All the animators and the actors and everybody were talking.
Yeah, we were out there till 2 o'clock in the morning that Sunday night.
Yeah.
And we were just telling stories.
Yeah. And that's a sign, listen, it's a sign of any of us. We go to a party, you know, we throw a party, if people want to stay, you know that it's a great party. And if people want to stay up till 2 in the morning, you know, especially when they're working the next morning and doing all the stuff that you have to do, you know that you're at a great convention.
Yeah, I mean, you figure we all had to travel on Monday, and here we are, it's Sunday night, we're up till 2 o'clock Monday morning.
It's crazy.
But we made it, goddammit.
Oh my gosh. You know, it's so much fun. And what sometimes is missed is that, you know, we're sitting on the, I mean, believe me, we don't take this lightly. We get to sit on our side of the table and meet fans and stuff like that. Well, we get to go to these conventions and meet our heroes. I mean, I have met people that all my life I've admired so much, including Charo recently. I know, okay, Coochie. Oh, quick story. Land of the Lost, it was the rap party, I think, for the third season for Land of the Lost, and everybody in the world was there. Stallone, Elton John, everybody came, right? Because the show was such a hit. But Charo came and was chasing Chaka and his monkey outfit, going all around the jungle.
Oh no!
I'm telling you,
that would make some good footage.
And Phil was 12 years old at that time, so
the 70s.
I remember, like, we sat next to Lou Ferrigno at Dragon Con for like 4 days once, and I mean Gil Gerard. And my favorite was Felix Silla, who recently passed away. Felix, of course, played Cousin It and Wiki.
Yep.
Wiki. And and Melissa Gilbert and Mindy Cohen, all these people that, normally our lives wouldn't cross. But in the shows like this, I mean, suddenly we're having breakfast with them and, everybody sharing stories. And I remember having breakfast with Kathy. And we're sitting there at Chiller, and this woman reaches over and grabs a French fry out Kathy's plate, and I look up and I didn't recognize the lady, but then the guy look up and it's Tony Dow, who Leave It to Beaver just passed. He looks, and I'd never met Tony, and because when I was a kid, I mean, Leave It to Beaver, come on. And I looked up and he goes, "Hey Wesley, you still look good." I go, "Tony Dow," but it's. Anyway, so that's not only do we get to go and have the fun behind the table, but we also get to fan out and be fanboys and girls, with our heroes, and including, I think we did one of the most unusual one was the guy that did Godzilla. He was the Japanese guy that was in all the Godzilla suits. Mm-hmm. He passed away, by the way.
I'm glad I'm not the only one killing people off.
Thank you, right. But the odd people that we get to meet, and in all aspects of entertainment business and things like that. So, anyway, and Gil, who did the Muppet Babies, and who was at the show, Guy Gilchrist, and he presented me with this beautiful drawing of the Muppet of Kermit the Frog on the last day with a beautiful message and stuff. But we just became friends, and it's kind of hard to describe how much fun we had in Nebraska. So, and no liquor was involved. So, at least for me.
On my end, there was almost a full bottle of Jameson.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Oh, and you told me, you said, well, there was only a little bit left.
Yeah.
Right?
It was like a drink left. So, Wesley, you're obviously a very animated person. What were you like as a kid? And is that what got you interested in acting to begin with? Is your outgoing personality?
Well, I think most people would say I was annoying. But listen, I was born in Louisiana. I was raised in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And my dad left when I was 2. He was a professor, and I saw him maybe twice before he passed away in my later life. So my mother went back to college to get a doctorate degree, and I lived with my grandmother. But I think when I was 5 years old, I stood on the table in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and all my family were like educators, president of a college, a teacher, or whatever. And I said, I'm going to be an actor. And I think, if you really are sincere about it, I think I needed attention. And my dad left, it destroyed me. I remember him leaving. It was a horrible, horrible day. And I think all of us in life are called, whatever we choose in our careers, something that hopefully feeds some desire. When you want to be a doctor, you want to be whatever, you want to drive a bus, whatever that need is to help or to do. I think we're all I think that something in the past triggers those needs. And I think it was my dad leaving that just said, and I was raised with all women in my life, with no men. And so I just wanted to stand out, I think that's it, if I'm honest with you. So.
No, that tracks. I mean, from the wide array of interviews I've done, that does seem to be a constant in that there's always that need for attention. There's always, it's funny in the movies. It's kids with daddy issues become strippers. Well, in real world, they become actors. I mean, let's.
My mom was a kind of a mess mentally, and she was amazing. And she became a psychologist. I put her through law school, and she was in her 50s. She graduated top of her class, so she was a really bright, wonderful woman. But she became a therapist. And I think part of it was because she needed that therapy. Mm-hmm. And so it was some way for her to get insight and to give it back. So, positive and negative. I think it sort of is a sort of yin and yang thing that we do. We do gravitate towards something. There's something that we need. Now, obviously, we take jobs we just need money and they appear. I don't know many people that dreamt of being McDonald's hamburger guy, but it leads to something else usually, mm-hmm. And whatever that is, I don't know.
And it's very interesting that you say that you felt like you probably just needed the attention, because you look at your trajectory and you got thrown into like heartthrob status like that. So you got the attention, and there's still pictures of you walking, kind of jacked out and shirtless, and with the hair flowing in the wind. And,
my Chippendales calendar.
Yeah.
So.
So it's looking back. Was there any added pressure to the your heartthrob status, or is it just like, yep, that's me?
It didn't seem, to be honest, it didn't seem real. I didn't see myself as that. I went to New York when I was 19 and started working. And I thought it would be a stage actor because I never saw myself in that. I didn't, And then suddenly I was on all magazines and Tiger Beat and 15 magazines, Days of Our Lives, which I did for about 8 years. Played Mike Horton. It just never registered to me. I never saw it, and I know that sounds weird, but I'd go to the supermarket and my face would be on a magazine cover and stuff like that. And I'd go, it was odd. It was odd.
Or on girls' bedroom walls across America.
All over. I'm in touch with, there's a wonderful girl, Marianne Luongo. I hope she's listening. And obviously, so 40 some odd years ago, she arrived on the set of Days of Our Lives. And she was a very shy girl. Her mom was a friend of the executive producer. And she was like, I guess she was probably about 12 or 13 or something like that. And she's very shy. Well, she'd come to the set. I would hug her. We'd do photos and stuff. And her mom would bring her every year to see me. And she would do articles in the newspaper about how it changed her life. And I just spoke to her today again. We're friends. All these years later, her mom is gone, but she shared with me her scrapbook of how it changed her life. Being with me, and it was only because of our friendship. It was, I'm trying not to say it's not about ego. It's really wasn't it. It's just about. Oh gosh, it's hard to say without sounding like you're full of it.
Well, we know you're full of it.
Shut up! I hate you. I have been as polite as I can be. All right, I got to know you. All right, I'll stop.
I'll let it all out. I don't care.
Well, when I was going down a rabbit hole, I followed Marianne. I love you, and I will see you soon. She lives in Boston, so. But I've never taken it for granted what we do, and the the honor that we have. When with Dragon Tales, I was one of the co-creators for PBS, the animated series. And when we do shows and stuff like this, a lot of kids, especially kids on the spectrum, because conventions are the most amazing place. It's the safest playground you can bring your kids to let them running around, because everybody's going to take care of them, and I have several kids that I talk to on a regular basis that are on the spectrum, but they'll come up to the table and they can sing every song that was in Dragon Tales. They know every plot line, and the show was on for 9 years. So, anyway, it's a very, very, very special. Oh gosh, boy, I'm sounding full of it, aren't I? Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Well, you have the career to back it up, though. I mean, you're part of Land of the Lost. Big hit. Spawned a remake and a movie. Toolbox Murders, which we'll get into in a few minutes, spawned a remake and a sequel. Dragon Tales ran regular season for 9 years, syndication for a good few years after that. I mean, it was huge. So you keep going from big project to big project. It's not like you're dancing around a bunch of shit projects here and sounding full of yourself. I mean, if you're going to sound full of yourself, at least have the big projects to back it up, and you do.
I think what it is that I'm from the South. I was a little Southern kid, and it feels like a dream to me. It just I look around sometimes and go, how did this happen? I mean, it wasn't. I feel so happy. I mean, and I know people. If you're listening out here and you're successful in your careers, and you look at, because it's not just acting careers, it's all of our careers. Mm-hmm. Whatever career you're in, and if you look around, you can look around and go, I'm where I wanted to be. How could this happen? Look what got me here. And that's all of us. All of the journey we all make. Whatever your job or whatever your goal is, if you can sort of stand at this moment and look around and say, yeah, I got here where I kind of wanted to be. Now, we all can hope for more. We can all hope for more money, more success, whatever. But just to take inventory of this moment and to be content and have the gratitude, that's an incredible moment for all of us. This is not just about egos of performers and stuff like that. But I find that, first of all, those are the kind of people I love in my life, is people that are happy and gracious and have a lot of gratitude and are so thankful for where they are and get the privilege that they have. They've earned. But
life's a hustle. You got to get out and you get out of it what you put into it.
But look at yourself. I mean, look at all the things you do besides the podcast and the work you do. Putting on a convention, for gosh sakes. It's 5th year, right? Mm-hmm. And it's growing and growing. And I predict, and mark my words, this is going to become one of the biggest conventions, because not only is it the personnel that's so terrific, but you've got the space, that beautiful convention center area. It's really amazing, and the town is gorgeous, and the town is very welcoming. And I think you guys have sort of gotten, the bull by its tail. And I think, and then it's going to keep growing exponentially over the next few years. It's going to become one of the biggest conventions. And then I'll be begging you to be, Paul, can I come this year? Can I please? I have to pay you for being at the home. Please, Paul.
Oh, you're welcome back anytime.
Oh my gosh.
So I am curious, where did Dragon Tales come from?
Dragon Tales, I had written a book called The Red Wings of Christmas, which you can still get on Amazon. And Disney had optioned it for an animated feature, and I wrote the screenplay and the songs for Disney. And the book, I was producing a show called Totally Hidden Video for Fox, a hidden camera show, like your candid camera. It was a hidden camera. It was me, and I got to write the episodes, a lot of them, segment produce it, but I also cast myself. It was the best job I ever had, and I made more money as an actor because I just cast myself like I'd be a severed head being delivered to a doctor's office to be transplanted. You know, it was crazy. We created a lot of nightmares for a lot of people. But I was always like the waiter, even with Mickey Dolenz. We got Mickey Dolenz in once in Los Angeles, and we, quote, opened the #1 new restaurant down in Santa Monica. It was a chicken restaurant. And so Mickey was going to play the owner of this restaurant. And every person, I played the waiter. A guy brought his girlfriend, a girlfriend brought her boyfriend in to eat, and everybody was an extra, including my mother. No way, I got my mother a job. So, and Mickey Dolan, suddenly when she realized at this chicken restaurant, you had to put a chicken suit on and go catch the chickens outside. There were live chickens in the back. And so people had to put chicken suit on, go catch them. And then as soon as they got a chicken, the health inspector, who was an actor, showed up and said, "Oh no, you have to go. You're going to jail. You're being arrested. It's cruelty to animals." And Mickey goes to the person. He goes, "Listen, they're going to arrest me. They're going to throw me in jail. Here's what you need to do. Tell them the chicken's a dancing, performing chicken, and we'll do a show." They got a live chicken, and it's $50. Of course they're going to do what he says. And they're taking the chicken. It's horrible. Oh, you can dance the chicken. But that's the kind of stuff we did. And anyway, the guy that produced that, who was the executive producer, was a guy named Jim Cohen. And he moved over to Sony Pictures. And his son's favorite book was The Red Wings of Christmas. And PBS was offering a $16 million grant for a new show. And the Muppets wanted it, Sesame Street wanted it, everybody wanted it. And so they called me in, and they had gotten some dragon drawings from a guy named Ron Rudiger, who is this amazing artist. And he used to show his drawings were at the Sawdust Art Festival in Cocoa Beach, California. And they didn't look like dragon tails. They were very sophisticated, funny drawings. So they got the drawings, and they wanted to create a show around it. They had started on it. They got me in, and in 3 days, I wrangled it, wrote it up, and everything. And then PBS required a separate show to be attached to Dragon Tales. So I had a lecture series that I teach kids how to write a book at schools. And it was called, so I wrote another show called Show and Tell Me. Anyway, by Monday of the next week, I think it was Monday, we won the grant. So within a week. And then Sony Pictures, Sony was there, and then the Children's Television Workshop, which was Sesame Street. And, they came on board to write to be part of the show. But that's how it all happened, from the Red Wings of Christmas. So.
Wow.
Yeah. And the Red Wings of Christmas, CNN called it the New American Classic for Christmas. It's a story of this little boy in 1850, an 8-year-old boy washed overboard in a wooden cradle when he was a baby into the Thames River. And he's found by an old washerwoman named Tezariah. And he becomes a mudlark. And they were kids back in the day. These are real kids that would scavenge the banks of the Thames for coal and driftwood, anything to sell, to make money. And they sang. Well, one night, it's very Dickensian, it's very dark. He loses every deadly passes away, everything. And he's under the Tower Bridge in London, cold, freezing, 8 years old. And a cloth falls on his head. He doesn't know what it is. It's red, and he climbs, and he realizes it's a sack. And he climbs inside. It turns out it's Father Christmas's sack, which is fallen off from the sky, from Father Christmas on a trial run for Christmas. He crawls inside and begins to tumble and fall into this infinite world, where every toy that's broken finds its way to the Red Wings, finds its way to the toy sack. Because when a toy is broken, and not to be played with anymore, because even a toy that's broken can be loved. But when the toy knows it's not to be played with, the heart of the toy comes out, it breaks in half, it circles the toy, lights on the back of the toy, and unfurls, and becomes these large red wings, the Red Wings of Christmas. And they fly every broken toy into Father Christmas's toy sack. And inside is this infinite world where every toy is repaired, modernized, whatever it takes to find a new home. So no toy is ever discarded. Every toy finds a new home. And so it's the journey of this little boy, Albert, who who falls into this world where no child has ever been, and what happens to him. And that's the story of Red Wings of Christmas. And that's what Disney bought, and I wrote the songs and stuff like that. So, and I remember negotiating with Disney, and they're hard negotiators, believe me. They were being hard nosed about something. I said, so you're telling me that I'm going to walk into Disneyland, they're going to be singing the songs that I wrote, I'll be making no money. Is that what you're telling me? They started to laugh. They said, all right, we get it. But and this story has been a part of my heart. It's been 20 years since this book has been out, and it still has a big following. And a lot of schools use it. They start reading their class. They're very short chapters. It's a chapter book. And schools will use it from Thanksgiving to Christmas, reading the chapter a day. But that's how I got it, and why I got the kids show was because of my writings. And what's interesting, the Red Wings of Christmas, the illustrator for all you fans, you celebrity fans out there, was Ron Palillo, Horshack on Welcome Back, Kotter.
Huh.
Remember Mr. Kotter? Remember?
Yeah.
So I'd seen Ron had some pen and ink drawings, very detailed and very Dickensian kind of things, and they were like old English woodcuts. And I submitted his drawings to the publisher, and he got the job to do the drawings for me. So if you get a chance, go look on. Yeah. So and you can get it on Kindle. It's easy, and I think the hard copies may have been sold out. So there we go.
So I definitely need to pick up a copy.
Have I put you to sleep yet? Are you asleep yet? Have I talked too much?
Oh no, I could do this all day.
I'm rambling like a banshee. I close the coffee,
I got to tell you, I'm like a cross-eyed kid here. Not cross-eyed, starry-eyed kid here, man. These stories are great, and I've said it on many episodes before. That's part of why I got into podcasting to begin with, is to share these stories. Because tons of people, you go on to a podcast or you do an interview. It's, well, how'd you get started, or what was it like on this set? And yeah, I'll hit those points, but it's the stories in between points A and B that I'm more interested in than that actual answer. It's, well, how'd you get started? Well, I auditioned for a role. Really, I mean, it's when you boil down to it, how'd you get started? I auditioned. That's how I got started. But the stories that you don't hear on a regular basis unless you start looking for them or things like that, like the story about the Red Wings of Christmas. To me, that is a fascinating story. It's a heartfelt story, and it's like you said, the origin story for Dragon Tales. And kind of where PBS's mind was on, okay, this show will be in good hands moving forward. He has the right mindset for what we're looking for. And it was 9 years? So, I mean, they were right.
Well, they got some great writers. I didn't write the episodes. I created characters for most of the Canadian characters, like Zach and Weedy. Wait. There we go. Zach and Weezy from This is my favorite creation. I love Zach and Weezy. And initially they were going to be called Snarf and Booger, but PBS won Snarf and Booger. So Dragon Tales was huge. I mean, it was in every country in the world. There were live performances in arenas. It was a pretty amazing, heady experience. But I didn't do the day-to-day. I moved on to other things. But they sure did a great job, the voices and the animation and things like that. And I understand it. And I just found out that a new Dragon Tales movie just came out in March.
Nice.
Produced, directed by Jeff Cohen, who was the guy that was my executive producer, Toby Gilman, is the main guy at Dragon Tales.
I always thought Zach and Weezy were bipolar. I mean, it's like the perfect
Well,
representation
a little
for
bit,
it.
maybe,
You know, so
maybe I'm just channeling me.
well, they say write what you know. So,
There you go. It was quite a trip. I remember I had to redo rewrites and stuff, and the last rewrite I had to do. Children's Television Workshop, Sesame Street came in and said, we need these rewrites, we need to change this. And I was going on a cruise, a 7-day cruise, a Days of Our Lives cruise, as a celebrity from Days of Our Lives with a bunch of the cast and some fans. And I remember the technology, this was 1999. And on a ship, we didn't have the phones we could call in. We had to go put a phone call in. I think it was like $20 a minute. And so I remember I stayed in the cabin the entire time. I bought one of those little portable printers back in '99, and I sat there with the computer and I typed and did all the rewrites while everybody was out, in Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, at Cedar Frogs and stuff like that. And I'm trying to fax the new pages back to Sony Pictures, and it was well worth it. It was really well worth it. So.
It definitely had longevity. And
yeah,
let's go back now to a character that was kind of dual personality, and that's Kent in the Toolbox Murders. Because when we first see him, you would not expect him to be the killer. He does not. He comes across as like the supportive friend and this very well-adjusted guy. By the end of the movie, you learn, nope, that's not true. How was that transition like? What was getting into that headspace like?
I was on Days of Our Lives at the time, and I got permission to go film this. And it was Cameron Mitchell and Pamela Burton. And in fact, it started a genre. It was the #1 drive-in box office. I think 78 or 79. And Stephen King, the famous Stephen King, listed Toolbox Murders as one of the top 10 movies to rent for Halloween. Mm-hmm. So the reviewers panned the heck out of it, but it has a cult following now, which is huge.
So I actually saw you in that before seeing you in Land of the Lost.
Wow. So it was interesting because he's a pretty psychotic kid, and it took me after we filmed the thing, because I had to get into it, and it was pretty crazy. It took me about a little over a week or two to get out of that headset. I was kind of melancholy after the thing. I was kind of like, when we filmed the show, I just kind of stayed in the corner, and because he was pretty upset with this guy. And Pamela Burton, who played the girl, one of the most famous actresses of all time. She's the most celebrated child star, I think, in the world. She did more shows back in the day. She was amazing. And I got to kill Cameron. I love that. And to tell you how Toolbox Murders saved my life.
There's something you never thought you'd say.
So after Toolbox Murders came out, I'm roller skating at Venice Beach in California. Now this is the late 70s, and we're talking roller skates, not rollerblades. We're talking about the 4 wheels, right? With the big stop. So I'm just roller skating and having fun. I just done a Chips episode, roller skating, and I'm skating, and there's signs all over Venice Beach back then. It says, "Do not stay here after dark, gangs." So I'm skating. I'm having the best day. And it's suddenly, I kind of look around and the street lights come on. And I think, oh, geez, I was having too much fun. And I'm in a really dark, secluded area of Venice Beach. And I look around and I'm being surrounded by this gang of guys. And they are literally circling me. They're all on roller skates. Very West Side Story. When you're a jet.
I was just thinking, it's like, how'd you find the West Side Story gang?
Exactly. But these were not guys to be messed with. These were pretty guys, and they were dangerous. So I am roller skating, and suddenly I'm thinking, I'm gonna get mugged. This is it. This is really it. I know what I'm away in the dark over here in a corner down a piece of cement down by the beach, and this one guy, big guy, so they're literally surrounding me, and one guy comes roller skating over. He looks at me, goes, "You an actor?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Toolbox Murders?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Me no fuck with you, man. Me no fuck with you." I swear this is a true story.
That's awesome.
These guys became my friend. I would go roller skating into this gang would see me. They'd come roller skating over. Hey, Wesley, we're going to skate with you today. Nobody's going to bother you. And they became my friends. I'd hate to find out what happened with their lives afterwards because, they were pretty rough and ragged, those guys. But they were so kind to me. Literally saved my life.
Well, I'd like to think that maybe you made a positive influence on a couple of them and they turned their life around.
That, you know what, I would love to believe it. I really would.
Were you living in California the decade before when the inspiration for the movie took place?
Oh, which movie? Wait, just kind of dropped a little bit, the sound.
So when the inspiration for Toolbox Murders, the actual murders took place, were you living out in California then?
I think I was. We actually filmed in the valley, about a mile away from the actual murders happened, by the apartment building that it happened in. And if you're not familiar with Toolbox Murders up there, it's an apartment house, an area that these girls are being slaughtered with things from a toolbox. And they each have questionable pasts. And I've been hired by my uncle to clean up his apartment house, which he owns, to clean up the blood and whatever, to make it rentable again. And that's how this all fits in. But I have people come to me at the show because there's one scene where I take my best friend and, I throw gasoline on him and burn it. So just like any normal high school person would do.
Yeah.
But I remember when we filmed the film, the thing that I'm in the garage with my friend and stuff, and he discovers what's going on, and I take gasoline, toss it on. And I take these wooden matches and I start singing this song. But what I learned was, and I got wooden. I asked for wooden matches, and I could flick it on my hand and light the match without striking the match. I could do it with my fingernail, and so the wooden match would go and just light up. And so I'm throwing matches all around this guy, right? And so he does this, and then and then of course I blow him up. But I'm saying, Joey, burning bright, lit the night with fire, light. He's screaming, don't. And but by the time I was practice, I was so proud of myself. I could light this match. My fingernail was breaking. I was thinking, oh, geez, it was hurting. Like, ow, this hurts to do. But what we do as performers and stuff like that.
So it's probably my favorite scene in the movie is that garage scene.
Yeah.
Because just start to finish, that fire scene is just very well put together.
It starts out, you watch the movie, it starts out, I'll tell you a story, okay? About the same time as Toolbox Murder came out, I was starring in a film with Valerie Bertinelli and Red Buttons and Jim Backus. It's Hanna-Barbera's very first live movie, not animated, called Chomps. K9 Home Protection System. I've been a mechanical watchdog, and Conrad Bain is Valerie's father. Valerie's my girlfriend. I actually got to give her a kiss before Van Halen gave her a kiss, so hey, there you go. And so both movies are coming out about the same time. So picture this. I feel like it's like Golden Girls. Sophia, picture this.
Sicily, 1922.
Exactly. Los Angeles Boulevard, 1978. Again, it's a rainy day. It's a rainy day. This girl I was living with named Lisa, everybody wanted to come and said, oh, let's go see my movies playing on Hollywood Boulevard, one of these cheesy movie houses, right? This is one that back in the day that I think they were just like the week before they turned into a porn house, right? So I have a bunch of friends. It's a rainy day in California. Everybody's got jackets on because it's a little cold. And we're going to the afternoon show. And we go into the movie. And I think there's 2 other people, right? So I got this row of about 6 people, 7 people, friends of mine. And Toolbox Murders starts. And it's pretty graphic at the opening. It's pretty graphic.
Yeah.
And stuff like this. And I look down the aisle at my friends. And every one of them's got a jacket over their head, hiding their face so they don't have to see it. And Lisa, sitting next to me, she goes, Wesley, I thought this was the Hanna-Barbera movie.
It is.
Yeah, we gotta kill Scooby-Doo.
They really upped their game for live action.
They said, as the movie was over, they said, we will never forgive you. But I mean, it was on the marquee, for God's sakes. It's not like I hid it.
Right.
But they just, it was raining. They didn't look.
Well, and, so I rewatched it recently, and it's fairly tame by today's standards. But for 70s standards, I'm surprised. I mean, it had to float that line to almost get an X rating by the censors. I mean, just with the nudity alone, really, and then just some of the graphic kills. I would love to know what had to get cut to keep it under the X rating. Because it really does. It skirts that line beautifully.
When Siskel and Ebert, which were the movie reviewers back then, I mean, they call it just disgusting. And I think you read the review, it's actually funny. But it really, they say that this was the movie that started the slasher genre. That this was sort of like the grandfather of that genre. And then everything else becomes slasher. But the thing that I think we had, the reason that Stephen King likes it so much, is the plot is really, I think, intriguing. But the performances, Evelyn Burton, when you see her performance in this movie, and Conrad Vance, just as sick as can be in this movie, plays my uncle. And I get to play with these guys. Again, it's you see schlocky things sometimes, but the performances sometimes are so good, that they carry it. They really make it believable. In fact, in Land of the Lost, which it's now become this cult classic, it's the performances. I mean, first of all, it was written by Star Trek writer and stuff, so the scripts are phenomenal sci-fi. But it's the performances is what made it NBC's number one show, not Saturday morning show. For a while, it was NBC's number one show, and it's because of the writing, the production values, but also the performance. Kathy's performance as a little girl, and Phil Paley's as a Chaka, as the little monkey boy who's 10 years old, were extraordinary. And it wasn't played for laughs. It was played for real. It was a drama, a serious drama. So again, it's performances that I think can take a mediocre script. And I'm not saying these are mediocre scripts at all, because Land of the Lost certainly wasn't. And even Toolbox Murders. But had it been played with tongue in cheek or something like that? No. There is a fine line of believability in shows like this. I think, in my opinion.
Well, these are both properties, Land of the Lost and Toolbox Murders, that easily could have been played to camp factor.
Exactly.
And the fact that they didn't, I think, is why they have spawned New Age remakes and are still living on, because the plot was solid. The character writing was amazing. I mean, were all the, like in Land of the Lost, were all the scripts golden? Probably not. But it lasted, forever, so there was a lot to work with. It had a solid storyline, solid premise. Same thing with Toolbox Murders. Solid story, solid premise, inspired by true events, which is an automatic hook for people. And the characters were so fucked up, you couldn't turn away. I mean, even the victims. And it sounds terrible to say, but even the victims had something wrong with them enough that you're just like, man, this is worth watching. And yeah, like I said numerous times now, both of these have spawned newer remakes. I mean, Toolbox Murders, I think, was remade in 2014. I think it was somewhere earlier in the early 2000s, 2010s, and then it had a sequel. You know, so it's just like, it blows my mind. This movie from 1978 that is very much a cult classic movie now has a new movie and a sequel.
It is amazing when I do shows because I played such good kids. Land of the Lost, Days of Our Lives, young Dr. Michael Horton and stuff like that, and Dragon Tales and things like that. My career's been a lot of good people. And I've only done 2 movies where I'm the bad guy. One, Jennifer, eaten by snakes, and one with Toolbox Murders. But Toolbox Murders was absolutely so much fun to do and to end terrifying at the same time.
Well, and especially with Toolbox Murders, because you figured this was a 3-channel day. This is back in the day of 3 channels. So whenever somebody saw you on TV, it was Land of the Lost, Days of Our Lives. And then they see you on the big screen, Toolbox Murders. Talk about a departure from what they're used to seeing.
And at the same time, I was doing all these game shows. I was a regular on Password, on TV with Alan Ludden, and like Betty White and Lucille Ball, all these amazing performers. And, playing, again, a good guy.
Mm-hmm. I say this very, this like family man who's, this all around good guy. And then this demented killer who, like I said, goes from the supporting friend to this twisted individual. Yeah. And you watch it unfold throughout the movie. It's one of the greatest character developments I think I've seen on screen.
We owe it to the writers, The writers did a great job. Tony DiDio was producing. He played the detective, and he did the remake. He called me for the remake. He said, Rusty, do you happen to have a script in your attic of the original? I can't find it. So, but that's the fun of being, of being a performer is being outside your box. It's like getting to play something different, and I loved it. I would in the future. Anybody out there, you need a killer, you need a murderer, call me. I would be so happy to do that because it's so much fun to play.
It'd be really fun. You have somebody, if anyone needs a killer that kills with a raft door, really wrap it all full circle.
or kill with kindness. I'm saying, I can
Come here.
I love you, die. I love you. Yeah. Oh, you're so beautiful.
Oh, Lord. Well,
oh my God.
We could do this all day. But we should probably wrap it up. I'll have to have you on again.
Yeah, I'm bored. I don't know about you, but I am so bored with me. I've actually heard these stories before. I don't mean to, I don't mean to alarm you. But
I've lived these. I don't know what the hell you're interested in.
Before we started, I said, "How long are we going to be here for?" He goes, "Well, until we talk to and get bored." I'm thinking, well, hello. Is anybody left out there?
Hang up now.
Oh my!
I say I'm definitely gonna have to have you come back on because one of the newer things you've been a part of that I'm interested in is I want to hear more about the paranormal investigation project you worked on. So, I will ask you to tell people what that is. And we will schedule another time for you to come back. We'll talk about that and some of the other things, some of the other things other than your like top 3, your greatest hits that you've worked on.
Yeah, come on, what you have missed, and I really am upset. I played an oak tree when I was 5 years old at the grade school, okay? I mean, the fact you don't bring that up, and,
I was a solid oak tree, damn it.
I was. So, you have not done your homework.
My daughter's first role was a rock.
Listen, thank you so much for this. It has been on a personal note. It's been great to get to know you, and and hopefully to cultivate a friendship that will last a long time. But you are an extraordinary man.
Thank you.
And what I saw you do in Nebraska was first class. So thank you.
And thank you. I mean, yeah, this is definitely. I have no interest in. We talked, we're done. So I definitely plan on keeping in touch.
Yeah, lose my number, will you?
Just delete it.
Just call my peoples. Just call my people.
Where can listeners keep up to date with any projects and convention appearances you have coming out?
Oh my God. Instagram, Wesley Eure. Facebook, there's a couple of them. There's my personal and that stuff. And a website, wesleyure.com. So, I'm all over the place. I love social media. One of the nicest things about social media, and I'm getting up there in age and stuff like that. But I keep up with I build websites and stuff like that. So it's been one of the greatest tools for these shows to be able to. Who would have thought years ago that you could contact your favorite celebrity? Like I could contact like Roy Rogers back in. You'd never get an opportunity to contact people that you were Farrah Fawcett. How would I ever get in touch with Farrah Fawcett? But now today you actually can contact people, and I think that's sort of the magic of these shows and social media. It's an extraordinary new world of fan celebrity, and I'm loving it.
Oh yeah, it's you figure at one point you could send letters to P.O. boxes and you might get a response. Now there's at least a 50-50 chance when you email a website that you'll actually get a response or a picture or something. The odds are better, nowadays because it's more instant. It's easier to manage. You don't have to leave your house.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
On your guys' end, you can be checking that stuff at like 2 a.m. in your underwear.
First of all, I didn't know you had a camera, and that's ridiculous. You need to turn this thing off.
Get out of my house!
Really? You knew that? Unbelievable.
I just assumed everybody sits in their house at 2 a.m. in their underwear.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here in my shorts, so, it's like...
It's not a far leap.
I have shorts on. Listen, longer gone are the days for Chippendales calendars and stuff like that, Yeah, yeah. The only Chippendale I can do now is months, and that's it.
Oh, man. Listeners, I will put those links in the episode description. And you can find me and other great podcasters over at electronicmediacollective.com. Or if you just want to follow me, you can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Moose Media Inc. Wesley, this is about exactly as I expected. It was about as fun, if not more, than I had figured. And I cannot wait to do it again.
Oh, no, Moose, don't call me. I didn't have a good time. Oh.
There's my soundbite.
Turn this off.
And
so. I'll call my peoples, yeah.
Oh, God.
Thank you, my friend. I genuinely thank you so much. I had a blast, and I look forward to spending more time with you. Not just by Zoom, but in person. So.
Oh, absolutely. And listeners, if you happen to be in the Wyoming area in July, we will both be at Wyoming PopCon in July. So stop by, say hi. And
please do, yeah.
Until next time, Horror Hounds, Ash on.
This has been Moose's Monster Mash. Come back for more chills and thrills if you dare.